Okay, what it do, y'all? It's your boy Gage. I'm here with Frosty and Coop. Frosty, how are you?
I'm tired, as always. We were just talking about that, but you know, life.
Okay. Tired is life?
Yeah, so goes life.
Okay.
Always.
Coop, how you doing, man? You look tired.
I was tired.
And then...
I fell asleep at work today, but I'm awake now.
I'm just going to assume nobody caught you.
Yeah, I woke up and I was like, oh, okay, we're good.
Awesome, okay. All right, well, hopefully they didn't take pictures of you and they're planning to come see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
So tell us what this was. You are now tuned into Good Conversation and Shenanigans, where we have good conversation and shenanigans. Everybody brings a topic to the table. We don't know what those topics are until it's time to talk about those topics. Coop has a topic. Frosty has a topic. I have a topic. And we're just going to talk about them. There will definitely be some shenanigans, I'm sure. I'm comfortable talking about anything. How about you, Coop? Kind of disorder? Are you comfortable talking about anything?
Yes, I am. Sorry.
Sure? I thought you said you slept at work.
I was gonna say he just fell asleep.
It just happened again.
Okay. Cool.
Yo.
I heard you had a bad topic.
No, I do not have a bad topic.
That's just what I heard.
Well,
you want to go first?
I will go first. All
right, let's go.
Okay, we talk about this a lot, Gage. Actually,
okay.
My topic. Okay. So we talk about accountability a lot. People hold themselves accountable. I want to know: can you teach accountability?
To who?
Anybody. To people who don't hold themselves accountable.
Okay, so can you teach holding others accountable, or can you teach people to be accountable for themselves?
Yeah, can you teach people to be accountable?
Like, can you teach your own children to be accountable?
I think, yeah, you can teach your children, but like someone that is, I guess,
like an adult. Right, like somebody who's grown up and should know to keep themselves accountable, but they don't.
Right.
Yeah.
That's an interesting question. I'm gonna ask you a question. Why do you ask that?
I think I'm a person that didn't hold himself accountable at one point in time, and honestly, a big part of that, I would, thank you for that. You definitely hold me accountable in a lot of situations. And, I think about it myself, and then I think about other people that I know who don't hold themselves accountable. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, can you teach that? Can you, teach someone, an adult who doesn't necessarily hold themselves accountable? Can you teach them accountability?
I don't know if you can teach them. I think you can let them know, like, hey, man, you're actually not doing the things that you're saying you're going to do, like all that kind of stuff. So you're essentially telling them, like, because everybody knows what accountability means. So, I mean, one would hope. But the actual act of keeping yourself accountable is something that's like, you can have people tell you that you're not doing it, but it's on you to really learn how to keep yourself accountable, because it's different for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it depends on what kind of accountability we're talking about. So, holding yourself accountable, let's use, I mean, it's February, right? I don't make New Year's resolutions. Most people who I know who don't make New Year's resolutions don't make them because they won't hold themselves accountable. They know they won't hold themselves accountable, right? Or they make resolutions that are things they really want to do, but maybe they're unrealistic, right? And so I think it depends on what you're talking about in terms of actually having self accountability. If you are unhappy with your weight and so you want to lose weight, the decision you make about how you want to lose that weight and whether or not you hold yourself accountable to it really depends on how far you try to take it. For some people, it's I'm going to start going to the gym every week. For some people, it's I'm going to go on a diet and I'm going to change the way I eat, right?
Mm-hmm.
For some people, it's just I'm going to stop drinking soda, you know what I mean? And just see how that affects me, right? I think sometimes we don't hold ourselves accountable because we set ourselves up for failure by not recognizing enough in ourselves to see what we really will and won't do, what we really can and can't do, right? And so there's nothing wrong with setting a higher standard for yourself. However, it has to be something that's attainable. And you can teach that. But you have to be able to see it in them and you have to be able to be honest with them. So, like, if somebody came to you and said, hey, Coop, listen, I need to drop 50 pounds in 2 months. You might have to say, look at here. And listen, sometimes you might have to help them by being like, not with me, you're not. Because when we go out, I'm eating good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you might have to say, listen, let's try to do something a little more realistic, right? Mm-hmm. Let's try doing this, right? And maybe that is, instead of saying I'm going to the gym every week, let's go every 2 weeks, right? Or you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you need to set the bar somewhere that is attainable so that you can see yourself hit that and then you can give yourself the next goal. I think what a lot of people do is they bite off more than they can chew. And then they realize, like, I can't finish this meal, right? And so they just give up. If you're talking about the kind of accountability that is like somebody says they're going to show up for you and they don't show up for you, that's different. That is about you holding them accountable for them not being accountable, for them not holding themselves accountable. And that is, you can teach it, but it's only something that's learned by somebody else holding their feet to the fire, I believe. Like, if there's no punishment, and punishment is probably not exactly the right word, right? But if there are no consequences, right, for a person always keeping you from getting where you're going on time because they're never on time, right? And you know what I mean? Like, and you can say to them, like, you know, you're riding with me, you know, I want to be on time, so you need to be here on time. And then when they show up late, they go, come on, dog, you know I'm always late. That just means that you've always let it go, right? Or even if you said something, it wasn't serious enough for you to finally say, like, Coop, I had to tell you, hey, dog, look, you can't ride with me because when we get where we're going, I have to be able to work and I can't have to leave at the drop of the dime if something goes off. So, like, we can go together. You can be there while I'm there, but we can't ride together. That wasn't an easy thing to do because I didn't want to have to do that, but I had to do it, right? Because that's the only way you can teach somebody to be accountable for their actions is if you allow them to see what it really does. You know what I mean? And how it's affected you enough for you to change instead of you being because you're the insane one. If you let them keep doing it, expecting different results, you're the insane one, not them.
Yeah.
So can you teach it? Absolutely. You can teach anybody anything. Anything. But it becomes a matter of will you hold yourself accountable enough to hold them accountable? Right? Okay. Do you have a hard time holding people accountable?
Yeah, I do. I don't want to say, you know, everybody or anything, but like there's some things where I feel like, you know, or maybe it's not my place to say something, or like maybe, you know, they need to figure it out on their own, whatever one, you know, but it doesn't always work that way. Then you find out that, like, they're not going to get it unless you say something, you know.
Is that because you feel like you're an adult, you should know better?
Yeah.
So you assume they'll get it on their own.
Hoping, I guess.
Hope is insane sometimes.
Yeah.
It just really is. Hope is insane sometimes. Because it's doing you damage. Right? Like some of the conversations that we've had have been about like trying to do stuff like this, right? You're trying to do an episode of Coop's Concessions and you tell people, hey, we're recording at this time on this day. I need you to be there. And they're like, oh, yeah. And then when it's time, they're not ready, right? So now they're holding you up. So you have to say something. That's just, right? Because if you don't, what happens when it's time for the next episode?
Yeah.
Just, you know what I'm saying? That's just kind of, have you tried teaching someone accountable? Like what would be the method you would use to try to teach somebody accountability? Or do you, or is it just, or is the real question, are you asking, can a person learn accountability versus can you teach it to them?
Yeah, I guess can a person learn accountability? Well, and then I guess the answer would be yes, you know. Depending on how
I guess I would say that my answer when the topic first started makes more sense for learning it. Because everything that Gage was saying was definitely on point. But it's definitely on that person to be able to learn and retain that accountability, especially when somebody is bringing it up.
I think it's interesting, right? I saw a post the other day that rang really true for me, with me for multiple reasons. But it kind of sits in the realm of what you're talking about with accountability. So I was watching, I don't know who the guy is. He was on like the Red Table Talk, whatever, with Jada Pinkett. And he was saying that he learned, like one of the most important things he learned from his mother made a big deal for him, was to always be on time, right? You just, and like to be on time means you're early. If you're on time, you're late, right? And I know a lot of people who are that way, right? And he said that like his wife, though, is always late for everything and always makes him late, right? And so he's done and ready to walk out the door so that they can leave on time, so they can get where they're going because they know how far they got to go and whatever. And she's like still getting ready. You know what I mean? And so now he's upset. He's got an attitude. And so the whole drive there, he's angry, you know, or whatever. Then they get there and they don't have the good time they could be having because he's upset because they're late and because they, you know, have kind of had this wall that's wedged between them from the whole ride over there and what have you. And then what he said was that his wife is a person who is extremely spontaneous. She's very like go with the flow, just kind of moves with the wind. And that is actually one of the things that he loves the most about her. It's actually one of the reasons why he fell in love with her, is how spontaneous she is, how ready to go she is, right? And he realized that him trying to force her to fit into his definition of being on time all the time was actually killing one of the things that he loved about her, right? And he had to recognize that him trying to change that or force that upon her was also taking away something that he really cared about her. And he had to learn to kind of adjust with it and figure out other ways to maybe, whether that meant like saying, okay, it starts at 5:30, even though it doesn't start until 6:30, Or
that's what I was thinking. Yep.
Just whatever it is, right? Because he didn't want to take that thing away from her that made her who she is, right? And so sometimes when you're talking about those kinds of things, some of the people that we know, that we enjoy their company, that are fun loving and whatever, it's not in them necessarily to do things the way you want to do them or to have things a certain way. And so sometimes when we set expectations for accountability for people, we do sometimes have to set those expectations within the parameters that we know make sense for them as a person. And so if you know you have a person you want to do a podcast with, or you want to go to a movie with, and that person is always late, you have to figure out how to say to them, hey, really try and go see this. I don't want to see this without you. We going to the 4:30 show. And the movie don't start till 5. You know, whatever it is, right? Like, sometimes you have to be able to, for yourself, because it sounds a little more like you need or want to be able to hold them accountable for your sanity so that they don't mess your thing up, so they don't ruin your good time, right? Because they'll get there and still have a good time even if they are late, or, you know what I'm saying, whatever it is, right? If there's a thing that's supposed to be done and that thing isn't done, right? And you know you have people who aren't going to get things done without that extra push, then that means if you're requiring that of them, you know you need to contact that person and say, hey, don't forget, we got to have whatever. How far along are you? Even if it feels like you're nitpicking or it feels like whatever, you got to give them, you're giving yourself extra work, right? To get them to get it done, because otherwise you know it's not going to happen. And I don't know if I'd say that's teaching accountability. I think it's teaching yourself to be flexible, maybe, with accountability. Because otherwise you just have to find people that do things the way you want it done, period. Or fall within the parameters of whatever it is, you know, you want. And that's not always feasible. You know what I mean? There are people who I have learned that there are people who, like, in working in like management and dealing with people, there are people who I can say, hey, can you go take care of this and get this done? And it'll get done. And then another manager will come and be like, man, they don't do anything. Nothing I ever asked them to do gets done. I come back and I'm like, what are you talking about? They're an angel. They do everything. Like, we don't have any problems. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just the approach. It's how you ask it. Sometimes people just don't want to bend for you. So, like, if that guy that's like your best friend who you've known your whole life doesn't show up on time for the thing you're doing, but they meet this girl who's really pretty and they're never late, if she's going to be there, you need to invite her. You know what I'm saying? Or you just
incentivize it.
Yeah, that they can be accountable, but it's different when they deal with you because you set the pace for them. And if you allow them to get away with, then they always will. And when you get tired of it, why are you tripping? Why you change? Why are you acting like that? Why are you being brand new? You know what I'm saying? I still don't know if I answered the question. Like, I don't know if you can teach it to people.
It's so complicated. Like, it's situational. It's based off the person. There's so many factors that go into it that it's not an easy question to answer.
So here's the thing. I'm gonna throw myself under the bus real quick. Coop, I hate doing dishes. Detest it. Hate doing dishes. So if the dishes are left for me to do, chances are it's not getting done. And that's for me. Like, I know that. So you know what? Paper plates it is, dog. It's easier for me. Like, I know enough about myself to know that that's just not a thing. I don't want to do that. Of all the things that I could or might want to spend time doing, that ain't it. Period. So I'm just, all right. Plastic, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can you give me an example of, like, I mean, not like if you don't want to put somebody's particular business out there or whatever, but can you give me an example of something that, like, I mean, I'm gonna assume you brought this up for a reason.
Well, yeah, it's more or less like, I guess, kind of what you already covered, like the whole me trying to do Coop's concessions. You know, I got certain people who say they want to be a part of it. Certain people who want to be on. Some people want to help. You know, constantly saying that. You know, and
I've never been asked.
Oh,
oops. Oops.
Well, we'll fix that.
No pressure.
But yeah, when the time comes, it's like, you know, they're not there. You know, they're not there. They're not doing their job. They're not where they need to be or doing what they're supposed to do. Yeah. But then I move on from it, whatever. I start working on shit by myself more. And then it's like, then they're back like, oh, I got an idea. I got something I want to. And it's like, well, you know, you really don't. You really don't come through.
Very familiar with that. They're not into it unless they've got like their idea. They want to do it. Like it doesn't matter what you have planned, unless like it doesn't interest them. So they have no drive to do it. And that's definitely on them. Like they like. It's so frustrating because they're friends. Like you would hope that when they say they're gonna do this for you, like they're in it. Like that shouldn't be a question. It shouldn't be oh man, how do I hold these people accountable for the things that they say they're gonna say and do? Like they're your friends. They should want to be helping you and doing the things they're telling you to do, or they'll do. So yeah,
I feel like more often than not, right? We end up, when we deal with friends like that, because realistically, you're talking about mixing business and pleasure, right? Yeah. When you bring your friends in on something that you're doing that you intend to take seriously from a business perspective, and you know, for them, it's like you invited them to do a thing, but it's really not any different from you just inviting me over your house and I can't make it, or I'm gonna be late. You know what I mean? Or we was gonna go to the mall or whatever, and I'm not, you know, up to it, and they don't necessarily feel some kind of way about blowing it off because the friend portion of it makes it feel like it's still friendly. It's not the business portion of it that they're dealing with. They're not seeing that piece of it. And until you can make them recognize that, the accountability portion of it, in the same way that they blow it off because they're still in a friend zone, you know, frame of mind, you end up not holding them accountable because you're still looking at them in a friendship state of mind. So that in essence, it does become something that is both of your fault, right? And so my question to you is, when that happened, how did you have that conversation with them to let them know? What did you say?
I didn't.
And that's the problem. You can't teach somebody accountability if you don't say anything, because then they didn't do anything wrong. You just mad. You just mad, and you mad for no reason. You got an attitude while y'all shooting or whatever it is, and nobody knows why you have an attitude because you didn't say anything. So you certainly can't teach it if you don't say anything.
Yeah.
Right? At the same time, you know, look, I have friends of all kinds of levels. I have friends that I've known since elementary school. I have friends I've known for a year, right? Still good friends. There are still some people I hold nearer and dearer to me, but the reality of, even like anytime you and I have had a conversation, Coop, it has always come from a place of, we're friends and I want you to get better. So here's what I need you to know about what you did or didn't do and how that affected where we are and how that can help you be better going forward. Because if you're doing it to me, you're not just doing it to me, right? Or if you want your thing to take off and do well, you have to understand you've done some of those things. So maybe you didn't say anything because you kind of have a guilty conscience because you've done it, right? So, but from a friend standpoint, I take it seriously and think it's important for me to be able to say to you, hey, dog, you were supposed to be here and you wasn't here. So we missed this, this, and this. You know what I'm saying? Or we didn't get to do A, B, and C. Granted, as friends, when you have an emergency situation, you absolutely go take care of that. And if you need me to be there, we're going to drop everything we're doing and we're going to go do that because we are friends first. We do have to put, you know what I mean, some of that above board, but like sometimes you have to be able to shake some of that off in order to get down to the business of things. That's not just necessarily business though. Again, it could be anything. Somebody holds you up, or they make you late, or they tell you they're going to take care of something, they don't do it. I'm going to pay my part of the rent. You know, whatever it is, right? Like, whatever that thing might be, you know, you do your best to take care of it. And then if you're friends and you're good friends, and you can be on the up and up about why it didn't happen, or, hey, this thing came up, right? Mm-hmm. And even then, if it's happening to you, you can only be willing to accept it. Apologies are always acceptable. Forgiveness and apologies aren't the same thing. So you can always accept the apology. You don't necessarily have to forgive, because a lot of times forgiveness does mean forgetting. And if you forget, more than likely it's going to happen again. But yeah, I mean, I'd recommend, if it's business with a friend, that you be friends enough to be able to talk about the business of and how their behavior affects the business, and how you can't move forward with them under that circumstance if that's the case, right? But also, it's your thing. It's your thing, not their thing. They don't have ownership. Their name's not on it. If your thing goes belly up, it ain't their fault. It's your fault. Because they don't have a stake in it. You know what I mean? Like, so when they come with an idea, right? Like, yeah, we could do it, but I have ideas too. Well, then yeah, if you're gonna do that and you're gonna bring somebody in, you also have to be willing to hear and listen to and accept their ideas, right? And maybe give up some of the pie that comes along with that ownership, I'd say. But you know, that's it. Now, if they just a straight up liar,
that's a totally different thing.
That ain't the same, buddy. That ain't the same at all, bro. Frosty, you have any other thoughts on that?
I don't.
Coop, you want to say anything else on it?
No.
All right, cool. You're welcome. Frosty. I hear you have an interesting topic.
I do. And I was kind of thinking about it before we actually became live while the countdown was happening. Mm-hmm. It's a combination of the two things that I was potentially going to talk about. Okay. The overarching theme there is the hypocrisy of social media and social media warriors and all that kind of stuff. Just letting everyone in on that, it's the fact that everyone wants to see, or they want to say, we love thick girls, blah, blah, blah. Like, we want to see them everywhere. But then when it comes time to really showcase their bodies and whatnot, that's not a thing. Like that, they're not. So in a competition of popularity, they're never going to win. The hot chick with the thin body and giant tits is always going to win. Same thing with, and well, on the other spectrum is the Harry Potter game that is so ridiculously hyped up for many different reasons at this point. I actually saw a post of somebody was trashing the game, saying if you play this game, you're a transphobe, like all that kind of stuff, only to have it revealed that this person has been playing the game for hours because on their Steam, it's public. Like they've set their privacy to public so you can see it. So it's just kind of like the hypocrisy in social media and all that, social justice warriors, all that shit. Like, I'm curious to hear like how you got, like what you guys have experienced with that, and like what your guys' views are on all that kind of stuff.
I mean, I have thoughts. Coop, you got thoughts?
I know Gage should go, so Coop, why don't you start?
I definitely have thoughts. I would say, I don't know. I really do feel that everyone has an opinion, and most people feel like their opinions should be heard. And most people put their opinions on social media, and even with that, it's like, I think people use their opinions and other people's opinions as well too. You know, I want to say something because I know it's going to rattle something, or I want to say this because I know it's going to have some type of effect if I say this, you know, whether it's for likes, whether it's for discussion, popularity, whatever the reason may be. But I do think it's stupid. I do. It's dumb at the end of the day. It kind of just takes away. It takes away from, I guess. I don't know. I guess it just takes away from the people who are really about that. You know what I'm saying? About what it is that, you know. What would you say? You said that people, if you play this game, you know, you're a transphobia or something like that. Like, you know, if people really have, you know, issues with people who feel like they're transphobia, like, I don't think they're gonna go about it that way, you know?
Right.
Well,
or they would. That's true. They could as well, you know.
There's
but
some,
it's just,
but like
just,
I mean, for that point, like how many people are really gonna know? Like, I'm playing this game because I'm a transphobe. Like, no one's actually like really putting that out there. Like the vast majority are just gonna be like, they don't care about this game. Like,
yeah, I mean, in a situation like that, right? I think, look, so often we hear people say things like, you know, what have you been living? You know, you must be living under a rock if you don't know such and such and such and such, right? And it seems like with the internet, with social media, everybody must know everything that's going on. It's just not how life works, right? So there are millions of people who love the wizarding world and have no idea what J.K. Rowling looks like, have no idea what J.K. Rowling says on Twitter. They don't go on Twitter. If they are on there, they don't follow her. They have no idea, right? Yep. And so when somebody makes a statement that says anybody who's playing this game is a transphobe, nope, you're just automatically wrong.
Right.
There might be people in that person's circle who are that in tune. We're gamers. We know what's going on. We know who made it's Portkey Games. It's published by so-and-so. They did the developing. There are some people who are so in tune and know everything that's going on and are making a conscious decision one way or the other. For the majority of people, they have no idea. They don't look at game reviews. They don't read IGN. They're not on Game Informer. They're not like, they have no idea. They're going to walk in a store or they're going to see a commercial and go, oh my God, I can go to now. I can be a Slytherin. And they're just going to go ape and they're going to buy the game. Right. And they're going to want to get it. They're going to play. They're going to live in that world. Right. So the person who makes those kinds of comments is looking for the attention that comes with that. That's a person who like wants to go viral. That's probably the biggest issue with social media that exists is that want/need. Everybody feels like, I don't care who you are. Everybody who has a social media, you post something random. It's a silly little thing you share or whatever. You saw it, it went viral. You reposted it. There's always a possibility that everybody else who sees it, not everybody else, but a ton of people see it because they see it from your page, right? You reposted it, now it is, and now you posted this thing that was just a random thing that your kid did that day, and all of a sudden, everybody knows who you are, and you have 1 million hits, you know what I'm saying, or whatever it is, right? So, like, yes, going viral can be calculated. For a lot of people, it's not, right? But keyboard warriors have been around for a long time. There are just way more keyboards now than there used to be. However, to a large extent, it works both ways. So for everybody that might be making a post that says, if you play this game, you're a transphobe, J.K. Rowling is horrible, blah, blah, blah. There are people who are just posting going, I'm having such a great time playing this game and enjoying myself. I have been waiting for a game that let me do this my entire life, right? Which is crazy to me because I'm old enough for people who have been waiting for a Harry Potter thing like this for their entire life. It just, so like, we talked about this on Loading Snacks Weekly the other day, specifically, and like, one of the people in the comments was like, yeah, like, I took my kids, we went to Disney, you know, we went to Universal in Florida, and we probably spent the majority of our time in the Harry Potter area there. For me, trying to separate the art from the artist and be like, all right, well, she's the IP owner, but like hundreds or thousands of people worked really hard to get this out before she made those statements. Had no idea. Grew up loving it, cared about it, are probably just as hurt by those comments as you are. Now we've done this work, we've put it in. Should all of those people suffer because this one person said something crazy?
Right.
Right. On the flip side of that, again, this person who makes this post and then secretly is playing it behind closed doors, to a certain extent, I applaud them. Mostly because you can say, I don't like this person. I don't like the things they stand for. This is how the fact that this game exists makes me feel. But you can't say this is a terrible game and you haven't played the game.
Right.
Right? You can't say there are transphobic messages within this game, blah, 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 and you haven't played the game. You haven't looked at or seen the material. You can't do that.
I saw that on that point. I actually saw a cosplayer that I respect post something in their stories that was an image like in the game, and this was before the game was released, so it had to have been doctored because the wording on it said, "You have discovered a new species. Come up with a slur for it." This person thought this was legit. Like, they were like, fuck this game. Like, this is what you're buying. Like, are you joking?
Yeah.
Are you really think that some publisher, once again, who J.K. Rowling has no say in this fucking game? I hope you're okay with cursing because this shit pisses me off.
I mean, it is what it is. Let's go.
But it's like, you really think that they're gonna release that this I mean, they're not like a huge gaming company. Like, from what I know. I'm not entirely familiar with them. So
yeah,
they're not going to risk their entire careers on putting something like that into this game, knowing, because that is just
they
common
did consider
knowledge.
canceling the game. Like for it, you know, like just to kind of be on there, like they considered canceling it, and it was like, well, we've done all this work. You know what I mean? We've come this far, and like, no, we don't stand for it. You know, a lot of like review sites have chosen to do like an editorial / review and have done things where they've posted charities that people can donate to when they did the review of the game. You know, it's a complicated situation.
Absolutely.
As far as like, again, the social media aspect of it, and people just, again, that's a person who's posting for the attention, because
absolutely
negative comments or positive comments, likes of any kind, shares of any kind, just it propagates. That's just the way that the algorithms work, and it just makes more people see it, right? And so to me, that's a person who's looking specifically for attention. They have a different kind of an issue, right? When it comes to like the idea or the concept of like people saying, oh, like we love thick girls or whatever, I'm gonna be honest, people who say it probably really do. Will companies get behind it? There was a time they probably wouldn't. I would say that things are changing more rapidly than they have in the past. You know, like Lizzo took that Grammy home the other day.
Mm-hmm.
That's coming a long way from Melissa McCarthy being like up for an award and literally having every designer tell her they won't design something for her because she's too big. You know what I mean? And then like having to go and do her own stuff. Like that's, we're a far cry from that. And that's like, you know, I do see far more places that have models of different sizes, colors, with tattoos, without tattoos, with face piercings or not. Like, and the reality of it is, at some point, it's just smart business. And that might be all it is, right?
My headphone cut out. I didn't hear a word you just said.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me, Coop?
Yeah, I got you.
It wasn't you. It's my headphones.
Okay. I was saying that like I see, did you hear when I said I see way more places now that like have models of different sizes, shapes, colors, stuff like that. But also, it's probably just good business. Like there is somebody who has to sit down and go, there are all of these people who quote unquote fit into this category that we're missing because we don't show them. So even if they feel like it's not what I like, or it's not what I want, or it's not whatever, you kind of have to cater to it. It's a strange thing, but I said to somebody the other day, we were just kind of talking about how men and women, the competition between men is natural, and the competition between women is forced, because for men, just like the majority of like the animal kingdom, it's peacocks that have the pretty feathers. It's the boys that have the pretty feathers that have to show off and have to do a dance to try to court a woman, and she just gets to pick. Like they have to court the female, and she gets to pick. We're a lot like that, right? The feeling of having to be dressed nice or have money or drive a fast car or an expensive car or whatever is the same thing. It is peacocking, but it's natural, right? For women, it exists, but in a lot of ways, it's created by other women. It's not natural in the same way, right? So women have chosen to compete with each other. And I'm not saying that like Victoria's Secret is like owned by a man. Like I'm not trying to make it seem like there aren't men who are behind some of it, right? behind a lot of it. But women have helped to propagate that concept or that idea, I think, more than men have. And I think a lot of the reality at is that when you walk in public, you ever seen a couple that you look at them, you're like, how did the two of them end up, like, how did she get him? How did he get her? I would have never expected or never would have thought. It's because the things that make us think those kinds of things are propagated by commercial and TV, and the need to sell makeup, the need to sell lashes, the need, you know what I mean? Like, those things help to propagate that. Social media is not like void of that at all, right?
Absolutely. But like women have created it. There are women who say they're battling it, but then when it comes down to it, if they had to choose between the thin girl to be on the cover or of a magazine or the thick girl to be on the cover of a magazine, the majority of the time men and women are going to choose the thin one.
Why do you why do you think that is? Like, what do you think is that would make them choose it?
People say that they want thick, but then they go and they look, and this was the image that was shoved down our throats, despite the, like, just in the last few decades, like, thin was what is in.
Sure.
But if you look at the majority of magazine covers, like, they're either thin women, they're gorgeous, they have giant breasts, or they're good looking men. They're generally have like a nice jawline and some muscles. Like, there is the hypocrisy that's like, we want to see the dad bods, but we don't actually. We just want to say that, like, we accept it, but I don't want to see that shoved in my face.
It's as if, like, we say, like, we say we accept it, but we really don't. And if it is accepted, I guess you want to say, then it's kind of put in its own category sometimes, you know?
Right.
I understand.
Sure. That. So I don't know if people saying, oh, we like, yeah, dad bods, that's the thing, right? Isn't necessarily commercially what they want to put in front of people, right?
But
like it right,
right.
so,
but that's like and that's the thing, is like, people say they want to fight for this, like, we want to see this, and like, the instant somebody is thick and put on a cover, the whole world blows up and is like, no, we don't actually want that, unless they are drop dead gorgeous with giant boobs, like, every time.
I agree, but I agree with that, Frosty, but I also agree with Gage too, that there are slight changes that are being made to stuff like that.
I don't disagree with that.
I
disagree with it, yeah.
And I see it in things like, if I'm shopping online, right? I'm looking for a shirt, looking for anything, and they just have a bunch of dudes wearing the shirt, whatever. But then I start to see, like, bigger dudes now wearing the shirt, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's more than, we're being realistic, I guess you could say,
Sure, but that's not like the front facing.
Right, it's not the cover.
It's not the cover.
It's not the image. Like, when you go to that website, it's not a, like, here's the wide catalog of body sizes that we have. It's generally those parameters that are always showcased on the front page of every website, every book, catalog, whatever, because those still exist, I guess, magazines, whatever, like,
somewhere. Yeah.
Well,
okay, so, but here's what I think is really, so, like, if you took the Sports Illustrated swimsuit, like, model show, right? Or like the Victoria's Secret, like, they do a model, they do a show like every year, right? A lingerie show. It's all these really thin girls, which, models, right? Sometimes, again, completely unrealistic. Super tall, super thin, don't look like anybody. You know what I mean? That is like normally walking around. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then now you have people like Ashley Graham, right? Who are like cover models, beautiful woman, super thick. She does have big boobs. Like, it's not like she's not, you know what I mean? Like, she's not the only one. There's like Iskra Lawrence. I mean, there are changes that are happening. Now, when an Ashley Graham or an Iskra gets a cover, there are going to still be people who are like, why would you do that? This is disgusting. Put that away. Nobody wants to see that. But I don't think it's as bad as it seems. And I'm saying that because of the exact conversation we just had. Social media tends to be filled with the very, very, very vocal minority. Squeaky wheel gets the oil. It's just how people are, right? So in the same way that, like, people don't generally like go to a restaurant, sit down, enjoy their food, pay their tab, go home, and then go on the Yelp and write a review. I went to IHOP today. It was exactly what I expected. You know what I'm saying? They don't do that, right? The minute there's something they don't like, oh, the waitress had an attitude, food came out cold, I'm telling everybody. You don't go tell everybody when you see something that feels average or you do like, or, whatever. The minute somebody sees something they don't like, right? That's the thing that propagates, right? If you look at the news a lot of times isn't news unless it's bad news, which is why people say no news is good news. That statement comes out of that, right? So, yep, if they put her on the cover, and even if they do a news story about it, and that news story is relatively positive, that news story will probably have also something about how there are people who are angry, or how there are people who are mad, or how there are people who are negative about it, or whatever, right? I think a lot of times the people who are perfectly okay and who do really like it or do really want it just aren't saying anything, right? So when you say people say they want to fight for it, that's different from whether or not people are okay with it. Because not everybody wants to fight for it, right? So I look at that the same way I look at fandom. I'm a firm believer that, like, nobody can tell you how much of a fan you are of anything, right?
Absolutely.
So, like, you're a Darth Maul fan. It's on your wall. Tattoos. I'm a Spider-Man fan. People have said to my face, like, oh, I know you got a Spider-Man tattoo. No, sir. No, I do not. That's not happening. Not a thing. Not going to be a thing, right? Do I love it? Yes. Is it everywhere? Yes. It's all over the house. It's in my underwear, my socks. Like, it's everywhere. But I don't have it tattooed. You can't tell me I'm not a fan, though, because of it. So, like, just because, also, we have to also remember that in the same way that we have put women or even men that look a certain way in the forefront, right? And have made it, this is what sexy is. This is what good looking is. This is who qualifies as a model. This is who doesn't. We know most people don't look like that. That's first. But also, it has put us in a place where if you like that kind of thing, you're embarrassed maybe to say it out loud, right? You're not necessarily saying that thing. So a lot of times you see a couple and both of the people in the couple are overweight, because somewhere along the line they got taught that that's what they had to do, maybe, right? But I can guarantee you there are people who are not overweight who find that overweight woman attractive or find that overweight man attractive, but maybe are afraid to say it because society is going to now treat them a certain way. If they come out and say it, if they confess it, if they post it, right?
Yeah.
Now it's going to be, and they don't want to get made fun of or become bullied in the same way that maybe even they bullied people when they were growing up because that was the thing that they were taught, right? Or they were taught to do. And people, it takes way more time to unlearn behavior than it does to learn behavior.
Absolutely.
Right? And so even if you can teach people to be okay with seeing women who look different from what they're used to on the cover, they can learn to be okay with it. They can learn to get used to it. It's still harder to unlearn whether or not it's okay for them to partake. And so they may not back it up the same way, right? They may not fight for it, quote unquote, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're not okay with it or that they don't have a problem with it. But you're going to hear the people who have a problem.
Oh, yeah.
That's always who we hear. Yeah. Right? So like right now, if I went online and I posted, oh man, I think Hogwarts Legacy is pretty dope. It's a good game. That blah, 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 whatever. I'm going to get blasted. There's going to be someone who's like, you can't play that. Blah, blah, blah. What if she was racist? What if she said something about black people? Would you play it then? Would it be a good game then? Like, so it's easier for me to just not say anything. Because while I know I can defend myself, because I can defend myself. Is it worth the trouble? Is it worth the drama? Is it worth causing somebody else to have the pain of having to see it or have somebody be angry and go through it or whatever? In the long run, it's just easier to support even from behind, right? I don't think you're wrong, right? I do think that there's still a lot of that. I do think, though, that it's very different than it has been. And I think that, like, so let me put it to you this way. If you saw, let's take like a Miss America pageant. Coop, get ready to jump in on this. So it's a Miss America pageant. The two finalists, one is a thick girl, one is not. Okay? You find yourself more attracted to thick girls, and you know, like you pulling like, hey, yo, if she wins this joint, it's going to be a win. Like, it's going to change the world. It's going to be a great thing. But she's not prettier than the other girl. And she's not a better candidate than the other girl. But there are people who are going to vote for the thick girl because they want to see it happen. That disadvantage can actually work either way. Right? So where do you vote, Coop?
I vote the thick girl.
Okay. Frosty, where do you vote?
I'm voting the thick girl.
Right. So even if the thick girl's not the better candidate, that's who you're going to vote for. So it works both ways, right? It just,
and assuming that ever happened.
I mean, again, at some point, somebody decided to put Ashley Graham on the cover of multiple magazines. Somebody made that decision. And I guarantee you that the person that she was up against probably didn't look like her. They probably look like what you would assume is the average model type
model. Yeah.
Right. Person. So how does Ashley get that? How does she win? Is it just was it a sympathy vote? Because you both basically just told me you would give up the sympathy vote.
I don't think because the problem is that like beauty is how people see beauty is different. So you may have said you may say that the thicker Miss America person wasn't as pretty, but that's on you. I might think the thicker girl is pretty.
Well, no, so I'm saying if you don't think she's as pretty, I'm saying if you don't think that the thicker girl is as pretty as the other girl, Like I just like looking at her face. Like you just think the thinner of the two girls has a prettier face.
No,
I'm not voting. I can tell you right now, I'm not voting.
But you see what I'm saying? So it's like it's the thing about trying to induct change like that is that it's never as simple as it seems on the surface, right? So like if the girl who was thinner won, there are going to be people who are going to say she only won because she's thinner. Mm-hmm. Even if she made a better speech, even if she was a little bit prettier, right? Or whatever you decide you know what I mean? Like that's still going to be an issue no matter what, right? Now, if the thicker girl wins, I don't think people are going to say, oh, it was a sympathy vote, or, oh, they did it because they're trying to cash in on whatever. But there are probably going to be people, but there will definitely be people who go online at that very moment and be like, this is ludicrous. There's no way that, and they're going to say the most ridiculous, trifling, you know what I mean, inhumane things, right? To disparage her as a person, to disparage the academy, and, you know, and the voting process must be blah, blah, blah. What they're going to say the most terrible things.
You mentioned Lizzo earlier, and this kind of sounds like the same situation when she was at that basketball game and her whole ass was out, and people were like, "That's disgusting. That's ridiculous." But then the other people were like, "Well, if she was thinner, would people be saying that?"
Say that?
You know,
yeah,
correct. And here's the thing. Well, here's the point I'm trying to get across. I'm telling you right now that Lizzo, who has a man who looks like some model material to me, there were people who didn't say it on social media, but enjoyed all her ass being out. Enjoyed it. Was like, okay, do you. There are people who were attracted to it just because she was bold enough to do it. Mm-hmm. Just because she had the strength and the energy to say, nah, I'm gonna be me. Right? Yeah. And her attitude of saying, I'm not gonna let anybody tell me I can't be happy with who I am. What's wrong with you? It's something wrong with you, not wrong with me for being happy with who I am. Right? So that kind of energy, that is the kind of energy that does induct change. Still, you're gonna have the people who feel like you said earlier, their opinion has to be heard. It is going to be the negative people who always have the most to say, right? And and it's just back and forth. There are people like, look, we come from, as geeks, we come from forums. There have been trolls on forums from day one. People who will just like go into a PlayStation forum and just type PlayStation sucks. Hey, dog, if you don't like PlayStation, why are you even here? And then people would just be like, why are you here? Da da da, whatever. And they just be like, shut up, fanboy. Shut up. So, yeah. Always, like, some people are just trolls. That's not to take away from the fact that, because a lot of what you're saying is absolutely true, Frosty. And there should be change. I do think change is happening. I do think that it takes, in the same way we had to wait a very long time to get good geek content because finally we were the people in charge of it. Now I think the right people are becoming the people in charge of it. Right? I think that the old guard is dying off. Right? They're going away. And or they have become smart enough to say, really, I need to make this money. And we're missing a lot of money. Right? Which, in the end of it, is honestly what it's all about. It really is. Right? So, all right, Coop, what size shirt do you wear?
Large.
Okay. I wear medium. And generally speaking, I can go anywhere and get a medium, and it's gonna fit like every other medium I got. Right? No, you can't do that. Women, period. Doesn't work that way. You know why? Because women's clothing is set to different sizes based on who they want to sell to, even within the same company. So if you take Gap, which owns Old Navy and owns Banana Republic, a size 8 in women's jeans in Gap, Old Navy, and Banana Republic are all completely different sizes.
Yep.
Because Banana Republic wants to sell to women that look like this, and Old Navy wants to sell to women that look like this, and Gap wants to sell to women that look like this. So the moment you go in and you go, I'm a size 8, and you put on the size 8, and nah, really in here, you're a 10 or you're a 12, right?
Yep.
Either you stop shopping there, right? Or you begin to think very differently about your body and the shape of your body and how things work. And that was done on purpose to sell to the people they wanted to sell to.
Yep.
Because you want a certain kind of clientele. Now a lot of places are beginning to realize, hey, there's a lot more money to be made if we just sell clothes to everybody. But you can't just turn around and change the way that measurements work. Bra sizes, generally the same, wherever you go. I said generally. I said generally. But almost everything else, shirts, camis, t-shirts, jeans, dresses, skirts, they also got a lot more
Hoodies.
options.
Like hoodies.
Yeah, right? So it's a women's medium, a youth small are the same thing sometimes. Like it just,
Yep.
Again, all of that is so convoluted because of what people want to do to make money that like all of that kind of stuff has an effect on, I think, the way that we look at those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that a lot of that is changing, and people are just, there have been people on the cover of magazines for years that I didn't care about. Forever. But it didn't necessarily mean you complained about it. You just like,
Yeah.
Right? As guys, we used to sit around all the time, be like, hey man, which one? Tyra Banks don't do nothing for me. She got a big forehead. I'm out. You know what I mean? But there are people who are like, oh my God, Tyra Banks. Right? It's just put on the cover whatever you want. Okay, that's cool. I'm not. Right? And so obviously we could talk about that for a lot longer. Frosty.
Definitely. Yep.
You have anything else you want to say on it?
Nope.
You sure?
I'm aware of where I stand on it, as I have faced this discrimination quite frequently.
I hear you. But you don't I don't feel like you have a trouble attracting people.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like trying to break into the cosplay and the modeling and all that kind of stuff. It's a million times harder just because I have a handful of extra pounds.
Sure.
And not large tits.
Sure. Has it ever been enough? Have you ever considered changing your body in any way?
Yes.
Okay. Would you currently?
I would.
Really?
Yeah.
What's stopping you?
Money.
Okay. So if the money was there, you'd make the change.
100%.
Interesting. So I have a question about that.
Mm-hmm.
How would that affect your self-esteem if people treated you differently, or let's say better, if you artificially adjusted your body in a way and you knew it wasn't natural, would that be better for your self-esteem?
So I have issues because of the amount of bullying that I went through as
Sure.
a young woman.
Right.
And I think that it wouldn't matter what everyone else had to say if I was comfortable in how I looked. If I was finally happy with the way that I looked because of this one really non-offensive like adjustment I made to my body. If it offends somebody else, I don't care. Like, I'm happy. So
Yeah, no, I don't mean like if people found it offensive. I just mean like if
if people
you
would
were
like look
treated
down on me,
no. If people
oh,
treated you
treated
more
differently.
positively, if
Oh,
you made the adjustment and then people treated you more positively, right? Would that be better for your self-esteem?
I don't think so. Cause like people
Yeah,
treat like a lot of the people close to me. I mean, everyone close to me treats me amazingly.
sure.
But like, and this is not a reflection on that. I still have horrendous self-esteem.
Sure. No.
So
However, so making the change would be a change that you do for you,
yes.
so that when you look in the mirror, you see something you're happy with.
Yes.
Okay. But does that also mean that you would be making a change so that when you look in the mirror, you are seeing something that you think other people are happy to see? Because that's in effect, like if you feel that way about yourself, you feel that way because of how people treated you. That's from the outside looking in, and that has affected how you then view yourself. So if you make a change to yourself that makes you feel good about the way that you look to you, isn't it also that the way that you look at you now negatively is because of what other people saw? Or is it any different, honestly, from going, when I look at the girls on the magazine who are the ones who get picked, right? Like, even if they don't deserve it, like they get the cover, right? Now
I would never use that. Like, I'm not saying like no one deserves to be on the cover. Like, they probably put in that work.
Sure. And some of it's probably artificial.
Absolutely.
Right. But it's Barbie doll syndrome, I think.
There is like there definitely is a little bit of that. Like, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And yes, I think that me wanting to make those adjustments to my body is a result of being bullied, of the image that's being shoved down our throats, of the beauty standard, all that kind of stuff. But like overall, it is for me. Sure. That stuff is just additional benefits. Okay. But it is a result of being bullied, and it is absolutely a result of that.
Yeah.
That desire. Yeah.
I get that. I'd feel like I was letting them win.
So what I want is very like small comparatively. Like, okay. I like the majority of my body. There's really, and that's there. I still want to change quite a bit of it, but I would rather do a lot of that naturally. Sure. So, but yeah, I mean, okay, it's relatively harmless in my opinion.
Again, we don't need to dig too deep. I was just asking because it's,
yeah.
I've had other people say things like that to me, and I've always just kind of wondered, like, if in the end you get the results you want for you, which in effect gets you the results you want from other people, do you still feel from a self-esteem place that, like, well, I had to do this. Like, if I hadn't done this, you wouldn't talk to me, or you wouldn't like me, or you
I wouldn't care.
You know what I mean? Like, okay,
that's definitely not anything that I'm aiming for.
Sure.
That would just be like the superficial, like, I don't want to say reward, but because of the fact that I am modifying my body to fit a beauty standard, it basically is a reward. So,
sure. There is a part of me that feels like anytime we modify our bodies, we do it to fit a particular standard, the one we want to be in. So whether we add tattoos or piercings or whatever,
sure.
I think that we like look at something and go, I like that. I think that's cool. I want to be a part of that. And you make a choice and you jump down that road. Like, I think that's just, you know, part of it. Okay. That's cool. Cool.
I vote thick all the way.
Always, no matter what.
Always.
Even if she's terrible. All right. Oh man. I have a very simple question. Is money attractive?
Yes. Yes.
I'm actually talking to somebody where this is a relevant, like, consideration when thinking about a significant other. So,
was that a yes?
It may not be attractive to all. It may not be the most attractive thing to all, but at the end of the day, it is attractive.
I'm gonna have to agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does money make the person more attractive?
No.
I don't think so, but I don't think so personally, but people do feel that money can make them attractive. And there are also people who think that money made people attractive, I guess you could say.
Right.
Well, I'm not talking about like using money to change your physical appearance, kind of like what we were just talking about.
No, but like the general idea that like if you have a ton of money, you're hot as hell. Like, I don't think that's for me personally, it's not a thing.
But it helps.
It definitely helps.
In the pursuit of growing old in a comfortable life, it is attractive.
Okay.
Yes, I agree with that.
What does it trump? What would you maybe be willing to overlook if the money is right? I'm not talking about this person's, they don't necessarily have to be a millionaire, but they're comfortable and you can be comfortable. So like, let's not like, let's not act like you came across like an Oscar-winning actor or something who's just got,
buku dollars.
Yeah, or whatever, right? But like, whatever it is that I think you personally would consider comfortable enough, what are the things you'd be willing to overlook?
Things we'd be willing to overlook.
Right. So like attitude. If they have an attitude that you just don't.
You have an attitude, but you got money, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah, sure. I'm out.
Okay.
If you can't treat me right, I'm out.
Well, not necessarily they don't treat you well.
But like that's what I'm saying. Like if they can't treat me right, it doesn't matter how many dollars, cars, whatever they have. I want to be treated right.
Oh no. I mean that's what I mean. Like I don't mean like, oh, they treat you well, like they give you cars or they give you, you know what I mean? I'm saying like they're good to you. Right? Like they're a person who's good to you.
Sorry. I thought you were saying if they don't treat you, and I'm not saying like they give me cars, like I'm saying like if they treat me like a trash human being, like I'm lower than them, blah blah blah. it doesn't matter how much money they have. I see what you're saying now.
They treat you great. Like they're, you know, good to you, you know, you whatever, but like they just have like a, maybe not towards you, but they just have like an attitude. Like they're just kind of like their attitude is not, maybe they have a I am holier than thou attitude, but they don't have it towards you in particular.
No, I can't do that.
You can't overlook that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, because I want them to be able, like, I want to be able to go out in public with this person, and if they're like that, I'm embarrassed by that.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, if we're joking, because I could be an asshole sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
Having fun, you know.
Yeah, but that's joking, right?
Yeah.
Okay. They're okay. They're not the most attractive person physically.
Yeah.
You can get over that. You can get past that.
I can.
Money trumps that.
Oh, wait. Sorry. I'm also considered. Yeah. Hold on.
So
like the way that these are phrased is like throwing me off only because I'm not the brightest.
Well, I don't just like, yeah, because I don't want to just be like, well, they're ugly, but they got money. Because that's not what I'm saying. But they're not like, you know what I mean? They're not the most attractive person. So, like, let's say you put two people together, two people side by side. This one's better looking than the other one. But the one who's not as good looking has the money.
So, unfortunately, it's a multi-layer thing. Like,
sure.
It's really hard. Like my answer was the first one I gave. Like, if you treat me right and you aren't a total dipshit in public, like, it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Like, that's.
I agree with Frosty.
All right. So what is attractive about money then?
I guess with that, I guess it would have to be like, as long as you're employed and working to make your life better, like that has to be part of the deal. Like, even if you're not making that much money, the problem is if you're not working or you're doing bare minimum part-time because you don't feel like working full-time, like that's unattractive.
All right, so if they're a trust fund baby,
fuck.
So the money's there, but they don't have to work. I'm asking because I notice things. I pay attention to the kinds of things that people do and how people act who have it, people who don't have it, how people treat people who have it versus don't have it. And I do think sometimes it depends on where you are in life. Like,
yeah.
You know, if you're looking for a long-term, you know, whatever, then they might have to have they might have to be in a certain place.
Yes.
Right? They might have to have certain things in position.
And I would say it's most important in that case. If I'm with someone and it's getting serious and we're talking about moving in together, starting a family, getting a dog, things like that, that requires money, you know?
Yep.
So in that case, it's like, yeah, I mean, that's what makes the money attractive with the things that we can do with the money. And I'm not talking about buy cars. I'm not talking about, you know, materialistic things. I'm talking about if I'm with you and we have money, it's the things that's going to help us grow with that money that makes it, I guess, attractive, you know?
Okay.
Knowing that you don't have to support the other person as you grow your family, your lives together, that kind of thing. Like, it's a partnership, and that's like, as much as it sucks to say, like, money is a big deal in this world, and that it you have to have it in order to make your life comfortable. And I don't want to have to support somebody. I won't unless they're, like I said, as long as they are working to help benefit our lives one way or another. Preferably making money, but maybe not necessarily at the level that I'm making, because I'm totally fine being the breadwinner, but they have to be working.
See, I agree with Frosty on that. And I've been in this situation before where I wasn't the breadwinner. I wasn't a bum. I was working 3 jobs actually. But even within that, it wasn't enough, because it wasn't enough money being made. Not to say it wasn't enough money being made taking care of the things around us. It just wasn't enough money being made to do
grow.
It was a slow growth, I guess you could say, but do what she wants to do, you know?
Okay. At what point, how far in do you go in a relationship before you establish whether or not that money wanes in attractiveness, like them having it or not having it, what they're doing or not doing? At what point do you establish like accounts together or not? At what point do you know what I mean? Do you really look at financials and go, okay, I can work with this or I can't?
I think everything is situational. So if you're the situation that I know of, that I've been talking to this person, they're online dating. And if they're looking at a person's profile and it says I DoorDash for 20 hours a week and that's my only source of income, they're an immediate no.
Okay. I mean, I know people who DoorDash and that's all they do, and they're doing
really well.
Fantastic. Well. Absolutely.
Like, real well. Like driving a Tesla. Like I had somebody deliver DoorDash to me in a Tesla the other day.
That's awesome.
Like, oh, all right. Oh, for real, all right.
So maybe not like DoorDash, but like I work 20 hours at your local GameStop or whatever. Like,
and that's it.
That's it. That's my source of income.
That's all I want. I mean, I also think that depends on how old you are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's again situational.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right, but I'm talking about you. For you all.
I'm getting older. Like I want my person, I want my life to, like, I want to just be coasting at this point.
Sure.
Cause I've done the struggle and I'm over it.
I had enough of that.
Yep. I'm so over it. So, like, unless you are showing me that you are working towards a goal of, like, so if I were to get involved with somebody who's working 20 hours a week at GameStop, but they're also going to school to be like, they're in their master's whatever, however,
right.
Working towards it, like, fine. But if you're totally content working at a small retail store at $20 an hour in this area, you
can't in that area.
Nope.
At 20 hours.
And 20 hours?
It's not gonna work.
Nope.
Okay. What about you, Coop?
I agree with Frosty. It's as long as you're working, physically working, and then you're working towards something as well. You know, I support all dreams, and because I mean I have my own too. But I think how far in to establish that, I think it depends on, like, the more we go out, the more we do things, you know, and the more is like I guess it is situational. Like, I don't mind spending money on dates, you know. if I'm with someone, I should be able to pay for a date. I should be able to pay for myself, if anything, But if I'm on a date, I'm usually planning on paying,
Yeah.
And I don't mind that. But it's like sometimes people could be like, "All right, I'm realizing I'm paying for everything," Maybe that's a problem. Maybe that isn't. Or it's like, "Oh, you want a bigger purchase this time, but you're not going to put any money towards it," or you want something a little more. I don't know. For the home or for a home or something like that. It's just, it is a situational thing. And I guess the bigger it gets is the more where we start talking about money, or like if we can afford that, or what do we have to do to afford that together,
Yeah.
Sure. If is there a not like is there a minimum amount, but like is there a I guess like a point at which, regardless of how much money they have, you'd be like, again, I know Frosty, you said as long as they treat you good, that's like you don't want to be embarrassed when you're out with them.
Yeah.
What if all their friends are douchebags?
Oh.
Like they've got money and they're good to you, but if you go out with them and their friends significant others, you're gonna hate it the whole time.
Honestly,
I'm not going out with your friends. Sorry.
Honestly, it depends on how she is with her friends.
All right, give me an example.
So, like, all her friends are douchebags, right?
Uh-huh.
Does she become douchey when she's with them?
Ooh.
Yeah, they're together. Yeah, well, all right, so here's the thing. Let's say she doesn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you gotta start questioning, why are y'all friends? If you're not like them and you don't act like even if she's not douchey, but if she thinks the things that they're doing are fun, like if she's just like chuckling, enjoying every moment of it, are you cool with that?
There will have to be a conversation to be had. A conversation will be had.
I've been in situations where I have said to someone, I hate your friends. I hate your friends, and listen to me, and I will punch that bitch. Straight up. We're gonna fight. I have had a girl cry because me and her best friend just couldn't get along because her best friend was a bitch. She was an asshole. I didn't like the way she treated people. I didn't like the way she talked to people. I didn't like what she did, and I would not allow it. Right. And so, and I knew that if all of us were together, that my girlfriend, she didn't egg it on. But I knew like if I wasn't there, it'd have been like, because I'm like, this is clearly how y'all act if I'm not here. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
You know, even if you're not the one doing it, you're letting her do it. And that's just not, she can't be my company. Like, you are the company you keep. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel. So for me, I mean, if she was like, boy, if you don't get in your Lamborghini, you know what I mean? I just leave y'all where y'all are. I'm about to go drive. Like, I don't know if there's a number like that. I couldn't put a number on it in any way, right?
Mm-mm.
But I also don't really care about money.
Right.
But I think it depends on what you think you want to do with whatever the rest of your life looks like. So, like, if you know, even if you're going to work until you retire, right? So if you're going to work until you're 60 or whatever, but the moment you retire, you want to be comfortable, not worry about it, and you want to travel, you have to be putting that plan in place.
Yep.
Right. And so if you know that's the thing you want to do and you can't do that together, then that's not your person.
Right.
Right. does that make them unattractive?
As a partner, yeah.
Okay.
Like as a person, maybe
Okay.
not necessarily, but as a partner, yeah.
Sure.
If we don't have the same goals, like I don't want kids. If you want kids, ain't gonna work, because there's never gonna be a point where I want children. That makes you an unattractive partner for me. I might love the hell out of you.
Sure.
But I'm not trying to hold that dream from you.
But we're not compatible.
Huh?
And we're not compatible in that space.
Right.
Right? Like we're not compatible.
Yep.
Okay. What if they hit the lotto?
And they want kids?
Yeah.
We're adopting. A teenager.
We're gonna skip a few ages.
and we're getting a nanny. We're gonna have.
Don't get me wrong. I love kids. I love my nephews and my nieces and everything, and I respect them, and I will love them if they came to me. Whether it be through somebody had a previous relationship and had a kid through it, I'm gonna love that kid.
Sure.
But I personally do not want to bear children.
Sure.
But if they hit the lottery, I can get me a nanny. That way, when they start being little bitches, I'm out of here. But I'm gonna love the hell out of that child. I'm not gonna irresponsibly adopt a child who may have come from an unloving home. You know?
Well, sure. Coop, if you hit the lotto next week, and there was a girl who wouldn't talk to you today, but next week she's
all over you,
speaking to you, is she attractive?
No.
You still like her?
No. You about to watch me. You just about to watch me go off with this. Huh?
You wouldn't even give her like a night? Y'all wouldn't go out to eat or something?
Oh, he's thinking about it now. He's like, all right, one night stand, but I need her to know that this is what she's getting screwed out of. I got you, Coop. I got you. Yeah, baby, you like that? Because it's the only night you're getting it.
All right, so look. What if they completely meet the criteria? Good looking, doing well, right? Like good money, got a plan, putting money away, investing in things, money's coming back in, it's rolling, but they have a job you don't like.
Oh.
Like they're a porn fluffer.
She's a porn star.
Or
oh man. I don't know.
It would really depend on the job.
Like I said, porn fluffer, like what?
Porn fluffer, like then they know what they're doing.
I'm just saying.
But I don't want to be out. I don't want to be out in the street. Me and my girl walking down the park, and then some dude's like, "Oh,
for real." That would be that's the line for you. Like, nah.
I don't know.
Because I want you to know you could be walking down the street with a joint who's not a porn star. Some dude you don't know could be like, oh.
This is true. This is true.
You like, why he owing? How come he owing? You ain't make me owe. Why he owing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't. Where do you draw the line? Can she be a stripper?
Yeah, she can be a stripper.
Okay, Frosty, can he be a stripper? Can he be Magic Mike? All right, that's cool. All right. Porn star?
It's on the cusp.
Yeah, so it's
porn editor.
That's fine.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Porn company owner.
Yes.
Okay.
Totally fine.
All right. Now, how did they become?
She had to star in her. She had to star in a few films to get the.
I'm just saying, like, it's not an easy industry to break into. So, does body count matter to you?
No.
Not at all.
No.
You
Do
clean?
you ask?
That's fine.
Do I ask?
Yeah.
I don't ask.
Okay.
Nope.
Is there a number? Let's just say you found out. Let's just say you found out. Is there a number where you do like the clerks 36 dick? You saw 36 dick. Like, is there a number where you'd be like, I don't know. Is what's
I don't
high?
think.
What's like too high?
All right, so here's
45?
the thing. I don't think there's a number, right? But if she told me like, yeah, I had a scene with like 5 guys, and then it's like,
A scene?
Yeah,
What
she
if
had a
it wasn't a scene? What if there was no camera and it was just like, yeah, nah, it's just me and 5 guys. Burgers and fries out of 5 guys.
I'd be like, yeah, yo, tell me how you did that. And where can we get into the next one?
Like, what's up? Where that money at? Where them dollars at? I'm all right, so
or even
drug lord.
I don't want to deal with a drug lord.
Okay, so drug lord's out. Porn star is a possibility.
Potentially.
Porn owner, questionable, but possible.
Yeah.
Now, if that person, again, making good money, got a stable job, are you okay with dating a person whose job it is to sleep with other people? Like,
honestly, no. I could try to change it as much as I want, as I think, try to accept it as much as I think, but ultimately, no.
There's no way.
Is that because of you or because of like when you take her to meet your mother and your mother's like, what do you do?
Oh no. It's a me thing.
Okay.
It's definitely a me thing.
You too,
it's a me thing. Yeah. I hate admitting it, but I am a jealous person, so.
I feel like I wouldn't care. Not I wouldn't care.
Right, but it wouldn't be like care. Yeah.
But I might have to be like, I'm quitting my job. We about to do this together. Like we getting like I'm gonna be your manager or something. Like we get like there's gotta be like a
it's gotta be a business relationship also.
Maybe. You know what I'm saying? All right. They own a diamond mine.
Is it blood diamonds?
Well, it has to be. Because that's where all diamonds come from for real.
Well, that's very true. All right. Yeah, no.
No?
Honestly, because diamonds aren't even that. Like, I don't like diamonds. I think they're overplayed.
Yeah, they give you the right one.
Nope.
Frosty. Hold on now. Hold on, Frosty. Because, like, I ain't big on diamonds either. Like, but I seen some rocks that I'm like, man, that's a really, really good looking diamond encrusted Darth Maul lightsaber necklace you just gave me. I'm just saying, like, they own the mine, like they can make some things happen. So, like, at
Gage, god damn it.
It's like the Grogu space shifter ball, but it's just a diamond. It's just a rock. Like it's just Grogu holding like that.
I don't care about that. No, you had me at mall.
I know. All right.
You get a double-edged lightsaber ring with diamonds on.
Bruh. Bruh. I'm just saying. Because Frosty's kind of already like F them kids. So like now, like these little joints trapped in the mind. Nah. All right. Okay. So money is attractive. It's important no matter what. And depending on where you want to go in life and what you want to do, it makes a big difference in how attractive that person is, maybe.
Yeah, but I would definitely put a lot of things over money.
Yeah. But I was about to say, like, we didn't come from the other spectrum where if I make a ton of money and I know that I am the ultimate breadwinner, this money is not going anywhere. It's only going to keep getting bigger. It doesn't matter how much you make. It doesn't matter if you're not working. Treat me right. Treat me like not your sugar mama. Doesn't matter.
And so I'm
like
saying,
a house husband.
Yeah,
it's cool if your money's right.
Yeah.
Is there a point at which then there? So I didn't specifically ask if ambition is attractive because I feel like that's a no-brainer.
Right.
So in a situation like that, what part of it keeps you happy? What has to be happening? I'm gonna give you an example. So today, somebody posted a video. I think it was Kay. Posted a video where this guy is sitting in the car with his girlfriend. He's in the passenger seat. She's driving. You don't see his face. He takes out like a wad of hundreds, right? And he just hands it to her. She looks surprised. She's like, "What's this for?" And he was like, "This for you." And she's like, "Yeah, but for what?" And he was like, "Just for you to do what you want." And she was like, "But I don't understand why." And he was like, "Well, you said you wanted to go to the mall. So like, when you go to the mall, like, do what you want with it. Like, treat yourself, do what you want with it." And then she was like, I'm gonna take you on a date. He's like, "You gonna take me on a date?" And she was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Well, baby, it's for you." And she was like, "Yeah, so I'm gonna treat us. I'm gonna take us out. We going on a date." And he was like, "I mean, okay, whatever." It was like the sweetest thing, right? And of course, people are probably like, "Dog, where is she? Where did you find her?" Right? Because she's just like, "Yeah, like I don't." And maybe that means that she just is stable enough in what she has that she doesn't need it or want it or whatever, right? But like, if you're that breadwinner, if you're bringing it home, if you're going out and you're working, the money's coming in and you're good, what does he have to be doing for you to not run into somebody else that's doing what you're doing and not find them more attractive and not do the dishes better be done when you come in the house?
I mean, man, all of these questions are so situational that it's like it's hard to really like pin that down. But like, if they're nothing but a house husband, then yeah, like coming home to like a comfortable house where I've been working my ass off all day. If I come home and you've been playing video games all day, like it's still a partnership, and I have to feel that there is partnership there.
You're taking care of the other things that I'm busy to take care of. Because that also feels like a certain level of appreciation for the fact that like you don't have to go to work.
Right.
You gotta do some work.
Yeah.
So what happens when like it's your birthday? Or it's Valentine's. Valentine's Day is coming up. It's Valentine's Day. They don't make any money. Are you giving them an allowance?
I mean, yeah, like the account is shared is what I'm going off of.
All right, but still you're buying your own gifts. but you're cool with that.
Yeah.
Because it's thought that counts. Like they have to go out and figure out what it is that you want and get it and whatever. So you're okay with that.
Yeah. Yep.
Coop.
I've been in a situation before. And I think you just got to be creative.
Yeah.
You know? And with a situation like this, I think this is where I think things are more important than money. Where I say it's something like loyalty over money, you know?
Yeah.
I can be loyal to you. I can make things happen outside or inside of our circle without necessarily having money. Kind of like you said, like
is it easier to be loyal to somebody who makes all the money?
Sure.
Is it harder to be loyal to the person that doesn't?
No, I think if you're loyal to somebody, I don't think it depends on how much money they're making. I can see why someone could be more loyal to someone who has money rather than someone who doesn't. But for me personally, I don't think it matters. I think if I'm in a relationship with you, with anyone, it's like the loyalty comes first, you know?
I'm waiting for Frosty to say loyalty is situational.
There is no situational loyalty. Unless, yep, all right. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's situational.
Okay. Loyalty is situational. That's interesting. That's a conversation for a different show. We're definitely going to talk about that.
I was going to say, you better write that down.
Yeah, it's on in the list. Loyalty being situational. All right. So money is attractive.
Yes.
But not necessary.
Right.
Necessarily.
Right.
All right. I hear you. I hear you both. I don't know if I agree, but I hear you.
Well, what are your answers to these questions?
I mean, I don't think I've ever been attracted to a woman with money. Not like I don't think I've ever found a woman's money attractive.
Okay.
I don't think that's ever been a thing for me. Like I can appreciate a person being comfortable and being able to take care of themselves and not needing my money or even really wanting my money. I can appreciate that. I think that can be attractive. But chances are, for me personally, being physically attracted to somebody is almost always going to trump monetary attractiveness.
Sure. Yeah.
Like if I'm picky. I'm not, but I am. Like I like what I like. What I don't like, I don't like. Sure. So like, I guess it helps. You know what I mean? If you I don't think it's actually ever helped me if someone I wanted to see or was seeing had money. Currently, it doesn't matter at all to me. But I'm also not currently in a place where like something long term I think even makes sense for my life. So, but I had to figure that out.
Right.
So that doesn't mean never. It just means
right now
at the moment. And like I don't necessarily want to I don't need to go do things on a whim necessarily. Right? Like I think I've had enough going on in my life throughout life that like I'm cool just being cool. Like just kind of chilling. There are things I wouldn't mind doing. Right? But I don't know that I necessarily have things that like I want to go do that so bad. Like I'm trying to go to, whatever. There are things I wouldn't mind doing, but mostly I just want to I just want to be able to relax.
I get that.
If I can relax, like if we can spend, I don't need more than 2 days. If we can spend 2 days together and be better than complacent, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm cool. Like I'm at a place now in my life where like I'm ready to do stuff where like I just like I'm gonna get a hotel room for like 3 days up the street. And we're just gonna go stay and just not leave. We're just gonna order it and we're just gonna stay. Just so it feels like like you don't I'm just in a place now where I don't feel like it's necessary to go.
You don't have to go somewhere to escape, like somewhere far off.
Yeah. Like I think mentally you have to be able to create your getaways.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that. I have a coworker who's going on vacation for like 2 weeks. I asked him where he was going. He's like, me and my girl, we just chill in the house.
Yeah. Staycations are totally a thing. I have done them.
I don't have a problem going away. Here's the thing. I actually told somebody at work today. I'm not interested in like going on trips right now. I'm interested in vacations. And they're like, it's the same thing. No, it's not. Because a trip has an itinerary.
Yep.
A trip is like, we're leaving at this time, we're going to this place, and then when we get there, we're going to get up in the morning, we're going to go do this thing, and then we're going to go do this thing, and we're going to do this thing, because if we don't do it while we're there, we'll never get to do it, and then we're going to go do this thing, and like every day has a plan, and it's like when you go on a trip, even though you might be excited, and you got to see things you didn't normally get to see or whatever, which is fine if that's what you want to do, you can come back just as tired, if not more tired than you were when you left. And at this point in my life, I just want to go relax. I just want to be able to go somewhere and not think about the rest of the world. Like I want to be able to go and be me and that person, and we're just being us.
Just exist.
Yeah, like we just, even if we just, I don't like, we can watch movies, we can hang out, we can listen to music, we're just talking, chatting, whatever, like that has become so much more valuable to me over like the last 2 years or so than I think I ever really realized, because I think people put so much weight in going on trips. Like there's even like the pressure of like, I'm going on a trip, because again, back to social media, it's like, well, if it ain't on Twitter, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So it's like you gotta go and you gotta take these pictures and you gotta post and you spending time to. No, Slim. Just put the phone down for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
And let's just coast for a minute. It's so. I really think that like when people haven't done that, when they haven't taken the time to do that, like you don't know what you're missing. Like people will tell you, oh man, you should get on this cruise and go to the Bahamas. You don't know what you're missing. I don't want to go on a cruise ship where somebody tells me what time dinner is. Dinner's at 7. You got nope. Nope. I'm
There's
all
only one cruise I want to go on, and it's that Disney Wish with the hyperspace lounge.
Which is, and again, you're going for an experience, right? Which is cool. Like you're going for an experience.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. Like, but again, like with a family and kids, like I've been going on trips almost my entire adult life.
Yeah.
So like everything has always been like, you go, you get there, you get up at like 6 or 7. Everybody's got to get in the shower. You feed each other, and then you got to go to the park and you stand in line, and everybody's got to pee. And then after you pee, then now everybody's hungry, so now you got to eat. You haven't ridden anything, and you've been in the park for 2 hours, and now you're gonna go wait in a line that's 45 minutes, and everybody's not even tall enough to ride it. So now you gotta like, now, it's just like it's work, and.
Yeah.
I don't want to go do work to go away. right? So like I'd be much more interested in going away to somewhere that has a vista where I can just lay and look at it. I don't want to go on the beach. I want to go to the boardwalk. I'm cool. I want to like wake up in the morning, open the curtain, and look at the sunrise over the water on the beach. But I don't need to go down there.
Yeah.
I don't want kids playing in the sand next to me, throwing volleyballs, seagulls trying to eat your cheese doodles off the ground. Nope. None of that. That's just not what I want. So like the idea, if somebody was like, listen, we can just go. I have a private island where we can just go. Oh, your money is super attractive. Where do you need to be and when? Right? But that's not realistic.
Right.
So like,
so it's not cool. Attractive for you.
Yeah. It's not it's not what I'm into. She could be listen, Coop. She could be richer than LeBron James. But if her hands look like LeBron James' hands, I'm out. Out. I don't care how gorgeous he is. Because the thought of LeBron James touching me, though, I'm out. Okay, how much money she got? Man, money can't fix them hands.
Maybe get a hand transplant.
Hey, listen, if LeBron James get his nails done, still ain't gonna work, bro. Still ain't gonna work. I'm not in. Yeah, I get it. I do think money is attractive. I do understand why, depending on where you are in life and what you want to do, and like in finding a partner, a permanent partner, that can be a very attractive thing. That is currently, I don't think, realistic for me. I'm just in a like, if it happens, it happens, but like that's just not a thing that I'm looking for because it doesn't feel real.
Because it's situational.
Exactly. Now if she's a porn star, it's like I mean, the money's right. Anyway, listen. It's been 2 hours of good conversation. I appreciate you all hanging out tonight and doing this. It's late. It's way past your bedtime, Frosty.
Yup.
Hopefully you actually sleep well tonight then.
Yeah, right.
It's just like there's no hope. Like, there's no hope. Listen, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Let us know what you think about the topics. Give us your opinions. We're looking for them. I will leave you with this. And this is like, take it with you if you want to. You cannot increase your value to others by increasing their value to you. With that, we're out. Bye.